Mayor, I would like to go ahead and begin our regularly scheduled council meeting for the third Wednesday of the month on August the 20th, 2025. I think you can recognize that Mayor Parton is not present with us this afternoon. We knew that. She gave us notice that she would not be here tonight, and I hope that she is enjoying a very well-deserved absence from duty. And it really kind of gives me an opportunity just to make sure everybody understands that while this council really works very hard in trying to put together a yearly calendar, life events do happen, which mean that we have a 5-member council and a mayor pro tem to be able to allow the meetings to just continue on even in the absence of myself or another council member or even the mayor from time to time. So I certainly hope that she is enjoying a well-deserved evening off. On behalf of council, I do want to say thank you to those who are in attendance tonight within this chamber, also the ones that are joining us virtually. I don't get the opportunity to tell you this much in the opening, but your interest and your involvement is so important to each and every council member. We appreciate looking into this crowd and seeing the creamers and the cramers and the others that are here with us from time to time, if not all the time. We're grateful. We're grateful for you responding with us and talking with us and communicating and telling us what's on your mind. So thank you again. We don't take that lightly. Madam Clerk, has the press and media been duly notified of this meeting tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right, so tonight Councilman Thomas will lead us in our invocation. As well, Councilman Thomas has asked a guest to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and that is tonight our very own Chief of Police, Chief Wade. And as we have our invocation and as well as Chief Wade leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like for us to keep in mind Dennis Ricks, who is the trooper who passed away from the injuries sustained in a traffic accident, and the reason that our flags are at half-staff, a life gone way too early, but serving his community extremely well. Thank you.
Pray with me, if you will. God, thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you so much for allowing us to wake up in a beautiful city called Cayce. And I ask that you continue to allow us to get to our city hall and leave our city hall safely. Continue to protect our first responders and our staffers as they travel to or from work safely. And God, continue to protect our kids that are back in school and allow them to go to school and come back home to their parents safely. And God, just thank you so much for just all the blessings that you've given us to live in this city and just continue to allow us to build an amazing community. In the name of Jesus I pray, amen.
Amen. Chief Wade.
Excuse me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again, Chief, and thank you for all that the men and women of your department do for our city. This time we have public comment regarding items on the agenda.
No one signed up, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk.
Excuse me.
Next, we have presentations. Presentation by Mr. Joajan Belgrave regarding his business, the Party and Event Store on Knox Abbott Drive. Mr. Belgrave.
Mayor Pro Tem, if you don't
Yes.
mind, I'd just like to read the email that I sent Mr. Belgrave, and no, you're fine.
Thank you.
That I always send to anyone that would like to speak to council. It just kind of lays out how it works, and it says, please keep in mind when presenting to council, it is not a back and forth conversation. You cannot ask council questions, and they will not engage in conversation with you. They are merely listening to your concerns. This is not a question and answer period between the speaker and the council or the speaker and city staff. Obviously, your presentation should not be derogatory towards a specific individual or individuals, and no foul language is allowed. Please be reminded that the meetings are recorded and live. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Belgrave. It's working, isn't it?
Right. First and foremost, thank you guys for taking the opportunity for allowing me to speak. My name is Joajan Belgrave. I'm the owner and operator of the Party and Event Store located at 901 Knox Abbott Drive. I am here today based off of a overlay district rule. I was told I wasn't able to display my inflatables, and in the case that I did, I will be hit with a fine. Now, I'm a young man. This is my first time in business. I had to kind of ask the questions, what does overlay district mean, and where do I stand being where do I stand being a new business compared to the businesses that's already existing? I pointed to the business across the street, saying that they were able to display their rentals of what they do as well. I was told that that particular business was grandfathered in. So I replied, well, what about that business, which was a U-Haul business that got display saying this is how much they rent this for the customers. I was told that my inflatables being displayed is promoting sale, and that's against the overlay district rules. And the reason that they're being able to do it is because they're grandfathered in. So I had to do research on what grandfathered in means, and that means that they're being there for a particular amount of time. So certain rules that's now they're exempt. And my question is, if the rules that they had 30 years ago still works for them today, I believe that I would benefit from that same thing. I was told that the overlay district is all in Knox Abbott, and I'm not here to go back and forth. I'm actually here to try to partner with the city because I believe I do have a good niche business, and I worked in childcare for 13 years prior to owning my party and event store. So talent, relations, and speaking with people and children and parents is kind of what I do. This past 2 weeks, I contribute 1,500 items to the back to school bash I had around the corner. So if you guys have popcorn, snow cone, cotton candy, bounce house, that came courtesy of the party and event store. I'm a sponsor for Brooklyn Cayce band. I'm a vendor for USC. In these last 3 months I've been open, I've gotten a chance to partner with about 44 businesses between Cayce. And I know it will stifle my business if I'm not allowed to display what is the bread and butter. I understand that it could be hazardous. That's why we sand them down with 100-pound weights to concrete. That's not going to make inflatables fly around. I have a 60-foot inflatable that you guys would never see displayed on Cayce because 60 feet is very obnoxious, and I understand that that's kind of taller than a skyscraper. We also do other things like balloon art. So after the summer ends and I get a chance to display my balloons, it's going to be very eye-catching, and I wanted to make sure that I comply, but also I want to make sure that rules that's going to stifle my business from being as great as it should be could be, I don't know, overlooked. I'm not sure how to, I'm not being politically correct, but it's a few businesses that's doing exactly what I'm not allowed to do, and I don't know how to say that's not fair, but I would like for it to be articulated in a way that I can be great starting off, or it's going to discourage me and my 7 employees I have to be able to receive this revenue, or be able to for the city of Cayce Police to want to partner with me because they did see my inflatables in the first place. So I'm not about to be long-winded. I had a whole drawn-out speech. I don't believe that. Want to just kind of cut to the chase. I want to be allowed to display my inflatables on Knox Abbott. I want to be able to bring enjoyment to the passerbyers, to the people that want to just sign that waiver and jump, to the people that's curious to see what this old U-Haul building is and how we're occupying it these days. Before I I got that building in December of 2024, and I'm pretty sure you guys remember what an eyesore that was. And before I got there, it was home to, the homeless, and that could be dangerous. So I think that I kind of like am doing something that I'm losing my thought here, but let me get back to my original statement. I would like to display my inflatables on that Knox Abbott overlay district. I think it would be greatly appreciated, and it will make me optimistic going forward. I'm 3 months in, and I plan on being in business for the next 30 years. I have a party and event store in Myrtle Beach. I plan on opening one in Charlotte as well as Greenville and Cayce, South Carolina. It's the flagship store, and I wanted to make sure that I am not stifled. My creativity is not stifled. My my passion and my drive for me as well as the 7 employees that I have. So thank you guys. I spoke to some of you guys individually. I'm glad to kind of see you guys in the flesh. I'm right around the corner. Stop by, say hi. And my name is Jawan Belgrave, and I'm the owner operator of the party and event store located on 901 Knox Abbott Drive. Thank you guys. Do I stand here or do I go back to my chair?
No, thank you so very much
thank
for
you so much.
articulating that. As our city clerk said, it's not an opportunity for us to really respond or enter into a conversation, but I believe I can say that we all appreciate you coming and being able to share your story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sir. Items for discussion, possible approval. 4A is discussion and approval to move forward with the Hazard Mitigation Grant Award.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This is an item that was tabled from the August 5th council meeting. This is again looking for approval from council if they feel it is appropriate for us to continue moving forward with the hazard mitigation grant application. And of course, the reason we brought this forward was because of the very large match that is required by the grant. The grant that we apply for is going to be in the arena of $21.75 million, which would require about a $7.25 million match from the city of Cayce. So we just wanted to, again, get direction from council to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. This was, again, a sort of an opportunity for us to continue to look for grants to help with the stormwater situation that's been on the avenues for a long time. It was just another opportunity for us. So we just wanted to make sure that we're not heading in the right direction.
So if my fellow council members will allow me, being that we did defer this till tonight, and maybe remind everybody, what sometimes looks wonderful at $21 million, $7 million out of a budget the size of the city of Cayce, what it means is this council would have to vote to increase the millage as far as we possibly could within 1 year, as well as borrow from a fund balance probably close to $6 million, which while we, I think, recognize, this council recognizes the significance of stormwater damage within the homes, within the properties throughout the entire city of Cayce, not just the avenues, but throughout the entire city of Cayce, we recognize there's a level of priority and importance that we should discuss this, but it comes with a huge price tag. So therefore, I think this council wanted to absorb that a little bit more before we brought it back for discussion. And I say that also a little bit more for Councilman Carter, who was absent during the initial meeting. So with that, I would open for discussion if there's not a motion.
I think we need to make a motion to open for discussion, so I'll make a motion that we approve to move forward with the hazard mitigation grant program application. And I believe we'll need a second before we can open discussion for that.
So we have a motion approving us to move forward with the grant for mitigation, and we will need a second to enter into our conversations about the matter.
Second. And if you don't mind, since I made the motion, I think that I want to discuss this more The motion was to approve it so we could open it up for discussion. I don't know necessarily where the funding would even be able to begin to come from, but I think that we could discuss tonight possibly some ideas and maybe move forward with something. Where the funding could come from, I don't know what ideas our city manager has that we could talk through, or any ideas that we have to come up with tonight. I know that this lingers citywide, even out my way, that where we have a neighborhood that half the neighborhood is city, half the neighborhood's county. And so being able to figure out how we can address this issue citywide. I know that we've been focused in the avenues for a long time, really since I got here back in 2021, and figuring out a way that we can have every district in the city be addressed by this would be the only way I would probably support moving forward with it, regardless of the price tag. But I'm happy to hear. I'd love to know what our options are for funding, if that was what Councilman or Mayor Pro Tem James said, if there was any other ideas that our staff had for us to hear tonight, or if we could kind of collaborate a little bit and figure out maybe something that we could do in the intermediate that might not be this $7.25 million match. But I just wanted to state that before we went into our
I believe we
regular
had,
discussion.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Right, so I believe that we had just deferred this to this meeting, but did not give any direction to our city manager to quote-unquote think outside the box. But I know you're a quick outside-the-box thinker.
I like to fathom myself as an outside box thinker, but on this one, there's not a lot of options for us, unfortunately. This is a really large price tag. Staff and myself truly understand the importance of stormwater, not only for the avenues, but for all of Cayce. But this would be approximately 1/3 of our operating budget annually. It's a once in a lifetime. If people are actually wondering why we actually went for that large of a grant, it's a one-time offer, really. Traditionally, this grant is not offered to this far inland. This came from the Helene hurricane that came through and hit the mountainside of South Carolina and up into North Carolina and did the damage. So the declaration for the emergency declaration moved further inland than it traditionally did on most hurricanes. So the impact, this allowed us to actually apply for this particular grant. So since it was that once in a lifetime sort of grant, it was sort of an all or nothing approach to it. To be fair, I'm not sure there's a high likelihood of us getting the particular grant, but we did want to go after it, and we were directed by council to do so, to look for funding opportunities, and this was a funding opportunity at the time. So if they're wondering why we actually went after that large of a grant, that's why we went after that large of a grant. But again, it does come with a very large price tag. It's very hard for me to say that the price tag of $7.2 million. One, I'm not exactly wholeheartedly sure to answer your question, Councilman Sox, where we'd actually get the funding for it. The impact would probably have to come mostly be incurred onto our fund balance, which would do heavy damage to our fund balance, of course. We would try to go to other partners, but there's no guarantee that anybody else would want to support that particular, especially since we've sort of gone into the process already anyway. So I think there's other opportunities. We would love to continue the conversation of what else we could do. We have ideas as staff, but this one's a difficult, especially on the funding mechanism.
Madam Clerk, were you able to download any of the pictures that I was able to send?
Well, no, I didn't realize you wanted them downloaded. I made copies.
Okay.
I don't know how much that'll help, though.
So I spent time after the last meeting up until now of really looking at some of what I believe causes a great deal of the stormwater runoff. And while we are in the midst of a $10 million project of attempting to get as much water to the river as we possibly can, there are areas throughout the city of Cayce that what have been used for many, many years, quote-unquote, the ditches are just totally overgrown, just completely overgrown. There are other areas where it could be 18-inch pipes that have gone neglected for many, many years. And I do have pictures, and if Mindy's got any of those pictures to show you, I counted countless pipes that are totally covered. And then I back up about 10 feet and find that's the yard getting flooded because the water has nowhere to go to. And fellow council members, I may be being too elementary here, and if I am, then I apologize. But my point is, if we're spending $10 million on trying to open pipes, but at the same time, the smaller pipes or the smaller culverts are not cleared, then the water can't even get in the pipe to begin with. So $7 million is a lot of money to put on the citizens of Cayce at a time that, are we doing everything in our effort to mitigate the water runoff as it currently is? I'm watching Wesley, who's not tracking me here, so he may have something to comment. If he does, I'm really wanting to hear. No, I'm serious. I mean, if it's not tracking, then I want to hear. But I don't have the heart to put a $7 million bill on the citizens of Cayce if we've not cleaned a ditch out. I don't have the heart to put a $7 million bill on the citizens of Cayce if we've got a fund balance that could handle you hiring some people to be concentrating on the ditches and the culverts and the drains throughout the city that can be cleaned. Now you don't have that manpower now. I totally understand that. But versus putting a $7 million bill on it, can we do a mitigation effort of trying to find a way to be able to, and Mindy's got those pictures. I beg of you, until you go and actually look at it and start seeing, oh my gosh, that's the house is flooded, and you look at a ditch and find out that that woman has called 5 times, but the state says, no, it's not my fault, it's the county's, and the county says, no, it's not my fault, you live in the city. We owe our citizens much more than to have them on a telephone getting knocked around.
What you're proposing is
Let's
that,
talk up. Can't hear you.
I don't know, is my mic on? It's on? Okay, cool, I just want to make sure. What you're proposing, would that address citywide, or would that be similar to this grant that's only for the avenues from a staffing
Oh, by
perspective?
far, it is citywide.
Okay.
I took time in Churchill Heights. I took time in Fair Lawn. There are so many other places that you just don't recognize that the water is running off of the street. As we have continued to build in this city, and I know you've put some really good ordinances in place about that, we continue to build in the avenues, and we're putting some really good ordinances in place there that there's got to be stormwater runoffs for that. But for years and years, things were being built and roads were being built, and there's no place for the water to go. And even in Fairlawn, they're having concerns with the water runoff.
And I asked that, I appreciate you bringing it up. I think this is a phenomenal idea. And I'm totally happy amending my motion should we want to do that rather than turn it down first. But I asked this, I mean, I wish I'd printed some pictures as well. Over the past few weeks, have been sent probably 30-plus pictures of folks' pipes and the drains out that way from backup, from just aging infrastructure out our way as well. And there's a lot of hills in those neighborhoods similar to the hills on the avenues. And like you said, a lot of the photos that I have on my phone here that have been sent to me are photos of infrastructure that are just full of tree limbs, gunk, muck, anything that just need to be cleaned out. And, it'd be awesome if whatever we propose here can coordinate with our county or the state agency, whoever is the right agency to be able to make it happen, instead of me having to contact our city manager, to contact the county, to contact their staff member, to contact the resident. I think this would really streamline that, especially in areas of the city where, like I said earlier, the Churchill Heights neighborhood, where half of it is county, half of it is city. But like you said, as well as the Fairlawn area and then the avenues as well. So what all exactly are you envisioning staff-wise, or what?
Well, I don't know, but I'm sure after the other council members speak, maybe Mike will have an idea of.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem James. So listening to you and Councilman Salk speak, I definitely believe that we need to make sure, because I understand and I've seen the pictures of people's houses flooding on the avenues, which, we've spoken lots of times up here, hey, this isn't our fault. However, we want to do the best that we can to find solutions for our citizens, because at the end of the day, they can get to us faster than they can get to the state or the county. And so we want to be good stewards and figure out solutions, put our heads down and figure out, hey, where can we be fiscally responsible to figure out how we can potentially help mitigate these issues, and while also working with our state and county partners to continue to overall fix the problem. So I know $7 million, sadly, we do not have that right now, and I know Mike's going to work really hard to come budget season to start setting us up where citizens know where we're going. So citizens are not surprised with any increases. So hey, we're trying to achieve this, so you're not shocked by anything. But right now, sadly, we don't have $7 million because we don't want to just take that from our fund balance, because we want to be fiscally responsible, because we never know what emergencies might happen. And the last thing we want to do is allow our city to be high and dry and vulnerable. I know I don't like to feel vulnerable, and I'm sure y'all don't want to feel vulnerable as well. So as much as I appreciate Mike for doing his homework to bring us this grant, I don't think it's in the best interest for us to put $7 million on the back of the taxpayers, knowing that we don't have that right now. So I know definitely every time it rains heavily, like, I'm not sure if y'all noticed, but did we become Seattle last 2 or 3 weeks? It's rained every single day, and every single day I'm like holding my breath like, oh my God, Riverland Park, please don't flood. Or any parts of Julius Felder, or any other parts on the avenues on where I live on the other side of 12th Street, because we've talked about storm water issues on the avenues parked close to the river, but I have constituents on my side of the avenues that have told me they're having some storm water issues, and they've called the county, they've called the state, same issue. So we need to work very hard to not only respect that, hey, you see somebody's yard flooding, we need to have empathy for that. However, we need to work very hard to make sure every district is getting solved in regards to the wastewater issues. We need to make sure District 2 is being looked at. Hey, where are areas where we can improve those homes, District 3 and District 4? Because the last thing we want our constituents to see is that we just approved $10 million for the avenues. We don't want our constituents to see, hey, y'all are pumping in another 30 in one area. What about our areas? We live in Cayce too, and sadly, I've seen on social media where some people are not happy that they feel that our city is focusing on one area. So I think we need to make sure we let them know, hey, when it comes to these stormwater issues, we need to make sure we're looking at what's happening in District 2, what's happening in District 3, what's happening in District 4. So we're making sure everyone knows that, hey, we want to do our best to fix whatever we can fix, while also continuing to communicate and partner with our state and county, so we make sure we move forward together and not just be like, oh, it's the state's fault, it's the county's fault. Because at the end of the day, who are we affecting? City of Cayce residents. These are our people, these are our neighbors, and we want to make sure when we sit up here, we're as neighborly as possible, but in every district. So I would love to hear whatever creative plan you have, Mike, that what can we do that's fiscally responsible, that but would make an impact where our neighbors would see that all throughout every district in the city.
Councilman Carter?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just sitting here thinking, historically, this November, I'll be coming up on 10 years sitting here, and this has certainly been an issue for my 10 years. I actually, when I got elected, it was September 2015. We all know what happened in October of 2015, and when I got sworn in November The first call I had was a gentleman over on Taylor Road in Edenwood. And of course, I'm the new guy, I'm gonna go solve that problem. And I go booking around there, and actually it was before I got sworn in. And we walked in his backyard, and of course it was this deep in water, because Edenwood has a similar challenge as the avenues with drainage. Their network is a series of culverts and ditches into one backyard, and it'll roll over here. Then there's a piece of pipe underneath the private property that it'll start at Taylor. It goes over through that's Hand, North Eden, Pecan, and right at your house. You at ground zero, Ms. Ziegler. And that thing zigzags its way all the way through Edenwood and comes out on the lower part of Shady Lane down there before it goes into the swamp. And when I came down here and was asking questions at the time, I said, how about these pipes that's underneath their own fence lines between houses? Well, that's the responsibility of the homeowner. And of course, like Mayor Pro Tem James said, they're full of muck and debris, and residents don't have a way to clean out those pipes. These things are 100 feet long underground. It just can't be done. And how do we fix it? Stormwater fee. Well, that's just another tax. We can call it what we want. But the challenge, as Councilman Thomas so succinctly pointed out, is the people like over in Hunter's Mill, Moss Creek, Concord Park, they don't have a drainage problem. They said that's their problem over there, but we try to do things as a whole. And looking back at we talked about our responsibility, and they call out here for help. If we have a police issue, we come running. We send the police force out there. If we have a sanitation issue, we send those guys out there. To have a drainage problem, we say you need to call the DOT. You need to call the county. Is it their responsibility? Maybe. That's for us to argue with them about. That don't help our taxpayers and our citizens one bit. So I would be fully supportive of some kind of initiative to clean out these ditches and these culverts. I mean, there's little videos on Facebook of these guys cleaning out these culverts, and all this water all of a sudden goes away. It's simple. You block the culvert, the water stays in the road. I grew up on Northland Drive. It was ditches all out in front of Northland Drive, headed down to toward Foreman Street, where the swamp is. And you go down there now, those ditches aren't there anymore. They've been covered up over the years. They've been poorly maintained. So yeah, this boy, I missed a meeting, and they must go back, but that's a lot of money, and so, we just don't have the money, and I would be very reluctant to burden the taxpayers with this kind of financial impact. It's important that we take care of the avenues drainage, yes. We're working on the two projects that we've been told are going to work. Looking forward to them working. We got a lot of work ahead of us. $29 million, that would go a long way. But this match is, it's a no-go for me. So again, I support anything, Michael, that you could come up with. If you need to hire a couple of folks and get some equipment, whatever you need to do to muck out these. I know we got that big machine that pulls stuff out of storm drains. I know there's a lot of rules when you go to do it. It may deserve a little, quote, encroachment, a lot of ditches. I know in Edenwood and on the avenues, a quote, in backyards. The mayor, she was here, she could tell you, she started something before I even got here. We tried it down on the avenues and knocked on the door and said, we're gonna go clean out the ditch. And they said, no, you're not. You're not coming on my property. Well, we own people's property every day. We got water lines and sewer lines. Yeah, they're in the right of way, I get it. We want to help, and the best way to help is to maintain what we got. Then we'll fight the big battle with the FEMAs of the world. And I appreciate the fact, I understand this is a one-time deal, but since 15, it's the 1,000-year thing. We've had several events since. Had them in Cayce, And it's a problem, guys. I don't mind telling you it's a problem. And we don't have all the answers. We've got a $10 million piece of an answer that we're working on. And yes, 29 would certainly go a long way, but I just can't, Michael, I know we always do it. We'll assign a funding source at that time. Yes, but it's never been this much. This is a new one for me. If we want to continue the grant application at some point, we see how we stand. Who knows, something magical could happen, and it just says a local match. Local, I assume, means us. And I don't think we're going to find a whole lot of partners willing to pony up. Stormwater fees, I personally have no appetite for that. Maybe council can convince me otherwise, but it's something we need to recognize. We're facing it head on, but I welcome an alternate solution.
Thank you, Councilman
Thank you,
Carter.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Mike, as I give you a second to think about what your response is going to be, whether you shoot us down or help us through this thing a little bit, let me elaborate a tad, because I failed to say this. I believe that what we're visioning here is a program, if you will, not just reactive, that somebody's out there cleaning out ditches and making sure that the water can flow through, but being proactive as well. Do we have ordinances in place that say you cannot blow all your leaves into that drainage ditch? If we don't, we should.
We do.
Because that's what's causing the backlog. Do we have ordinances that say that in the ditch you can't stack up all your sanitation trees and limbs? Well, we don't want our sanitation folks having to work down in a ditch anyway, and then they can't get everything out, and when they don't, that's what's stopping it all up anyway. And those pictures, I don't know if those are in there or not, but they depict that as well, that's what's going on. And to add a little urgency about this, we're fixing to go into the fall season. So that means that all these leaves, where they're going to go, if we don't help people to understand how to dispose of them accurately. So I think that this is as much of a proactive program as it would be a reactive program. And the other thing, and Councilman Carter spoke to it, listen, we are not going to give up on our partners, our state and our county. We're going to continue asking them to be with us on this and to have funding for it. But while we can't get that, we should not continue to keep our citizens in peril. We need to move forward and do what we can with whatever finances we have. But at the same time, I know it's been brought up before about, well, do you have right-of-way about that ditch? Well, we do have right-of-ways, and we work right-of-ways throughout the city all the time. Sewer and water, Ms. Betsy, run all through people's right-of-ways, and we work those every single day. But I believe the heart of our citizens, if you knock on a door and say, ma'am, your ditch in your backyard keeps flooding your house, and we need to work with that so the mosquitoes aren't all over in your neighbor's yard, I don't know that our citizens are going to fight that too much. I really don't. And I can't help but feel after listening to the rest of the council that, well, I don't believe anybody up here's got the appetite to spend $7 million, but that don't mean that all of the concerns need to fall on deaf ears. We need to have some type of plan.
And if you'll allow me to elaborate, I'd love to talk about that for just a moment. Myself and staff have talked for a little while about being the proactive side of the maintenance of our stormwater. I love a good engineering project, I really do. But we also understand the size of this. But whether council forgoes this opportunity, we will still continue to look for funding opportunities. There is a larger stormwater solution that we still have to seek. So we'll continue to seek those solutions. This is not the end of it. Whether we get this one or we look for other ones, we'll continue to have to look for funding solutions to find other avenues for stormwater for the big projects. But what staff and I have been discussing is, a three-pronged approach of education, mitigation, and maintenance to us goes a long way. And if we're talking a value of $7 million for one section of a basin where we could take several thousands or 100,000 or whatever we decide on a budget, and start working in proactive natures of maintenance, actually getting in there and doing some of the cleaning for us, especially in places that they may or not have the ability to do those particular things. You know, leveraging our existing resources. We do have a good city. We have great workers, and we have good solid equipment. Using the existing equipment and see what we can and can't do. Education. Education is big for us, not only for our citizens, but for our staff as well. What can or can't we be doing to help alleviate some of these concerns? What are some of the rules that we have on the books? Are they being enforced correctly? Are they being enforced at all? You know, let's talk about that. Let's start getting some of that education out to our team members and our citizens. Let's see what that does. You know, I grew up on the coast in a small community. We always saw those, you know, this drainage goes to the river, this drainage goes to wherever. You know, are we identifying those particular areas where we're telling people, you know, you have an impact on what takes place in your neighborhood, and the small things that you do make big impacts. So I would love the opportunity to bring back a program that we can sit down and talk about where we can be proactive in our community and help out. We hear it all the time. I'm not a city manager that points fingers at this is your problem, this is your problem. I do believe our partners are a big part of this, but let's start in the proactive approach and lead by example to say, all right, let's start cleaning these things up. Let's start talking about how we mitigate these concerns. Let's talk about education and what we can do to help with this. Because sometimes people do things without them knowing what the impacts of those particular things are. So I think those go a long way for us. I do believe a couple-person team would be massively impactful for us. And I would love to bring a more detailed approach to you guys on that and what that would look like. If you afford me that opportunity, we would take advantage of that opportunity. And I think it value well added to our team and our citizens.
Education, mitigation, and maintenance.
Yes, sir.
I think that certainly puts it together. So what is it that we could do for you tonight, realizing that there's a motion and a second on the floor, that would excel and expedite a program such as this?
Well, I mean, the motion on the floor is for this particular grant and actions of us moving forward, so that does have to be resolved. I have the authority in us to start working on these particular things. I will have to come back with you with the budgetary concerns, of course. So I would ask just a little bit of leverage so I can do some more work on that and bring you an actual budgetary item where you guys can vote on actually putting some dollars to cents to make this action happen.
Mike, just quick.
Nope, you're good.
Mike, is there a log that our city keeps track of where people that have these issues in District 2, District 3, District 4, and even District 1, is there a log that we keep so we know when we are able to come up with a plan and put it into place, these are people that we can contact and say, hey, we would like to come out and put this program into place if you allow us to help with your wastewater, with your stormwater issues. Do we keep a log of that currently?
I don't believe there's a log, but I can say that we have a lot of institutional knowledge with the folks that we have here, from our parks to our code compliance and our police officers. They are very aware of most of the problem spots that we have. And part of this program, we would hope, would be actually mapping those particular problem areas. Because, I think we can do a lot, but we will have to, again, rely on our partners for whether it's construction, whether it's sealing pipes or fixing pipes. But I think we owe it to our citizens to find those and map them and then look for a solution with our partners to help come in and do those particular things.
Thank you.
Councilman Sykes?
Yep, I want to clarify one thing, too. The motion was intended to open the floor for discussion and be amended. I completely agree that we're not coming up with that amount of money based on our fund balance and what we have. But we do have a strong fund balance that, due to our staff and us budgeting and being fiscally responsible over the years. So I want to amend my motion, and Councilman Thomas, I'll need you to second if you agree, to not move forward with the hazard mitigation grant program application, but to direct our city manager to bring back a proposal including recommended amount of funding he needs to put a program together to address stormwater and hazard mitigation citywide.
At our September 2nd meeting?
Yes, at the September 2nd meeting. Thank you.
I second that motion, and just for clarification, if our city attorney can just thumbs up that,
Procedurally, yes, sir, I think that's all.
perfect. I second.
Just in time.
Second.
Before, any other discussion, Councilmember Carter, on this amended?
No, sir.
But I would like to clarify something that Councilman Socks mentioned. For us to discuss something, you have to vote and second it, and then you have your discussion period. So I hear what you said, making sure people know that you weren't interested in that, but that's what we have to do to be able to open it up.
I could have voted to turn it down. It's just the discussion. I don't know if it would have stemmed to being amendable the same way, but thank you.
Appreciate you doing that. Appreciate you doing that. If there are no other questions or comments, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Socks?
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem James?
Yes, that we turn it down. Yes, that we say no, right?
Yes, that we say no, but all that.
I
is
got you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, thank you very, very much. Item B, discussion and approval of bid award for Airport Gateway Landscape Project.
Again, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This is a win for the city of Cayce and our surrounding areas. This is the bid proposal brought to you by a long, very hard process. So this started way back when with the Midlands Business Leadership Group. If everybody remembers, Don Staley went to the news one time and said, it's a horrible that, she got the NCAA basketball tournament here in the city, great city of Columbia, and she felt bad that the teams had to drive down Airport Boulevard to get the teams to the basketball game. That's how far back this particular project goes. But this has been a great partnership with Midlands Business Leadership Group and all of the municipal and county entities in the Midlands, from Lexington County, Richland County, and all the cities involved. So they did all out of fundraising. This is the first component of this gateway. So it's happening here in Cayce, which is awesome. We always lead the way, of course. And so this is to approve the budget, or excuse me, the bid award to Cayce Landscaping. Excuse me, I gotta turn the page. For the bid amount of, for some reason I didn't have it in there. That's my fault.
One, no, I don't know which one. It says
609,
2, 3,
749.
4. We know which
It is
number they are.
$697,529.37 for the bid award to award Cayce Landscaping the project of installing landscaping along Airport Boulevard for the Gateway Airport project.
Move that we approve the award to Cayce Landscaping for the Airport Gateway Landscaping Project for the amount stated.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Oh, recognizing our attorney.
Having just walked in, I just want to make sure, I want to make sure it's clear where the funds are coming from. It hasn't allocated. That's clear in the motion in case that's needed.
Sure. The funds are coming from the Midlands Business. It's held by the Central Midlands Council of Governments.
Thank you, Counselor. Any comments? Yes, sir.
Two things. First off, those numbers don't jive. That the memo says $609,749.40. That's the memo to Michael from Land Plan, a consultant. And then, and it uses the term base bid. And then that motion said $609,529.
Right. We took out, and I'm sorry, and the memo does have it corrected, $609,749.40. There was a one-year maintenance clause that was in that for maintenance. That was subtracted out of the bid proposal because the maintenance for the actual project goes to, and we were part of that.
That was my
MOU
second
that signed
question.
that. So we're part of it with West Columbia and Springdale that signed an MOU that we will come in a proportional way based on our allocation of population of going into that funding of taking care of the maintenance of this particular project. So they did, that's what the difference is, that it's 1 year less, and it's allocated and annotated in that memo that's why the difference in the pricing. So it is the $609,000.
The 529 number or the 740 number? 749
Something out, it'd probably be the 529.
should be the lower number, correct?
No, so the 609,749 is the number that is minus the one-year maintenance.
Okay, then I think the motion is incorrect.
Yes, you would have to correct the number.
So then I'll amend the motion to have the correct number. I believe I just stated said number. So we now have that said number at $609,749.40. Correct. And I believe that we need a second.
Second.
Thank you.
And thank you for the clarification on the
Thank you for that,
maintenance,
sir.
because that was my second question.
I want to,
Please.
we kind of got out of
Yes.
order a little bit there.
Sorry.
I mean, this is a great project for the airport corridor. Greatly appreciative of the Midlands Business Leaders Group for putting this together, putting the funding together. Grateful for the county for chipping in, I think upwards of $500,000 into this project, Lexington County. It's going to be huge for the airport corridor and really for the Midlands in general whenever they get all these done. I know it's been in the works for years. I think I've been talking about it in my newsletter for over a year now, and excited to see this come to life here this fall. Sadly, it kind of stops right at I-26, and so we've got a lot of work left to do for the airport corridor and to connect it back up to the Charleston Highway, Knox Abbott corridor. So, definitely focused on the continuation of this, but it's going to be a massive facelift for that area and for folks coming into the city and traveling in, and it'll be the first impression of wherever they're headed to in the Midlands when they fly in. And as the airport continues to expand and add more flights, we're going to add more folks coming in from different areas. So it'll be awesome for their first impression to be beautified a little bit, and definitely a lot more work to do. But grateful for them and for us to be taking the lead on it for our area since it overlaps with Springdale. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You know, one of the great things about our city is that we have an amazing historical museum, and I may have shared this before, but if I didn't, when you look at that, our airport's little three-digit code or whatever, CAE, that's Cayce, short for Cayce. So we can take pride in that. We can take pride in that we want to make sure, like as Mike said, that we lead in beautifying that area, because when the future soldiers that are fighting to defend our rights as Americans, when they come into that airport and they get off and get into the bus, they ride through our city first. They ride through our city, and while they have that patch on and everything. And as we know, tourists, the business deals that come through, we want them to see Cayce first. So this is big, because when we go to other airports in South Carolina, we see it beautified. So now it's time for us to take that to the next level, so then people see just how the city of Cayce, a piece of the heartbeat of South Carolina, because we are in the middle, how serious we take that intersection. So I'm very excited, very, very excited for this. So Mike, kudos to the team for working hard with getting this done.
Dawn Staley does so much. I don't know where she gets sleep, but Mike's correct. Years ago, she's the one that actually started this. She said, listen, we need to beautify Airport Boulevard. And MLBG then pulled it all together, and next thing you know, we've got counties and cities working together for a corporate reason of the airport and coming in. And I'm glad to see it finally come to fruition. So thank you for your work on that too. So Madam Clerk, we'll call for the question.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Sott?
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem James?
Yes, thank you. Item 5 is committee matters. A is discussion and approval of waiver of attendance policy for Museum and Historical Commission.
Yes, once again, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Ms. Earl has been a longstanding member of the Museum Commission and the African American Subcommittee, which is now a standing committee for theirs. She has been an exemplary member every time that she can. She is out doing great things, and she's trying to finish up her master's degree. So she does ask for a waiver from the attendance policy. She does not want to step down. She still wants to to serve the great city of Cayce and on these boards, and she does a wonderful job. She is just asking for a 4-month request to step down so she can finish her degree, and she'll be right back in there, as she always is.
Do we hear a motion?
Motion to waive the attendance policy for 4 months for Ms. Earl as requested.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's a very valid reason, and it's exciting.
I appreciate her actually even coming forward and asking that. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Socks?
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem James?
Yes. Now, for what we've all waited for, our city manager's report.
No report this evening, sir.
None?
No, sir.
You're kidding.
Hope you weren't waiting very long for that one.
That gives more time to Byron Thomas for
Okay.
council comments.
I always
My
love this
dear
moment.
friend Byron Thomas, council comments. Go ahead, friend.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So, first, I would love to start with, we redistricted this year, and I'm just so blessed to have new constituents that have, called me regarding certain, votes I've taken or certain issues that they have seen, and I just want to thank you for doing that. Because I want you to know, as your councilman, I appreciate whether we agree or disagree on the issue, that we can talk about the issue and you can hear where I'm coming from and I can listen to where you're coming from. Because that is the American way, and hopefully our country can get back to things like that. And I hope people know we're your neighbors up here. We're not congressmen or senators where you have to call an office and you're speaking to an intern or staffer. Our numbers are out there. Our house addresses are out there. I saw Mr. Jared Cromer a week ago or 2 weeks ago at a restaurant, and I said, hey, you ever want to get lunch or breakfast, let me know. I'll be honored to sit and discuss things with you and everything. So I just really appreciate that sense of community. And I just want to make sure that's communicated to my new constituents that, hey, if there is anything, please continue to email me or call me, because I want you to know whatever truth that I'm aware of, so I can give you the facts, because I know there can be information out there online that it can go be like a wildfire. So if you trust in me to contact me, then I'll be honored to give you the facts on the information. And so I appreciate all those that have done that. It truly means a lot to me, and I thank you for that. Continue to do it. I really appreciate it. Next, I would love to talk about serving on committees. Mindy, quick question. How many open on spots are on the events committee?
5.
5. And I take that personal because I once served on the events committee, and I took such great pride in serving on the events committee. So I did ask Mindy, is there an age limit? And that's something she told me she'll check on, whether it's 18 or 21. But parents with kids that are, well, I guess if they're 18, they're adults now. But young people out there that is you're looking for your opportunity to serve and you're creative. This is your opportunity to join an amazing committee, the events committee, and serve, to not only volunteer to help our city staff with these events, but to get creative, to bring ideas to council for us to support you so that our city can have the most amazing events in all of South Carolina, where people outside of this area travel to and enjoy with their friends and family, as well as our own citizens enjoying those events. So I really challenge everyone, not only in District 2, District 3, District 4, District 1, really consider joining the events committee. But make sure if you are joining, make sure that you have the time to join, because our city does need that volunteerism from you and that commitment, because I know our city staff worked very, very hard. So having these extra volunteers serve takes a burden off their plate. And I see that Mr. Danny Cromer, who used to serve on that committee as well, and he did an amazing job. And he got to see me ask a bunch of billion questions or say, hey, can we do this event, this event, this event? They had to calm me down. But I really just want to challenge everyone in our city. Let's get creative. let's get some great people on this committee, because we have the potential with how our city is structured to do amazing things in our parks. In some of the neighborhoods in our city, I know we have the mayor's amazing soiree that's in the River Arts District. Who's to say we can have something off Julius Felder or Riverland Park or in Concord Park or other places in Cayce? Let's get creative. The worst that can be said is we cannot do that. But it's already a no if no one tries to make it happen. So I just really want to challenge everyone in the city of Cayce to really consider joining that committee and really helping our city continue to grow and have amazing events. And outside of that, Mayor Pro Tem, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilman Thomas. Councilman Socks?
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank staff and our chief and officers for attending the community meeting I put together regarding the Fairfield Inn on Airport Boulevard last week. We had a great turnout from residents and concerned citizens. I see at least 5 of you that were there, and it was a great opportunity to inform the neighborhood that the property did not have to be rezoned or go through any rezoning hearings. It never came to us for a vote, and it fits the zoning, land use, and comprehensive plans that have been put in place that took community input and guided the plans for what's going out there. But I really do think that outside of a few interruptions at the beginning, the conversations really were productive, and think that the overall project is going to be better for the neighborhood and for our community as a whole because of it. And definitely better than the previous uses on that property, which were a couple bars over time on that same site. But I spoke with the developer today about incorporating a few of the modifications that we talked about at the meeting, and heard from folks. And I also asked if they would share a flyer or mail with all the neighbors in the neighborhood once they formally and finally decide what they're going to do. But some of those include some privacy fencing along portions of the project site that butt up to the neighborhood, some extra foliage along Waterloo that backs up to the neighborhood as well, and then looking into replacing the white oaks that they're going to plant with a more native plant that doesn't drop acorns that could further fill or stop up the drains. It's interesting how that just plays right into what we talked about tonight, and I believe that we've also done that over across from Trinity Baptist by replacing those Bradfords that wound up becoming what's the term for it, an invasive species. But so I've asked that once they finalize their decisions on those, and I know that they're still talking with some of the neighbors, and we'll keep that line of communication open from us at the city level as well, to make sure everyone's informed and aware of what was incorporated from the meeting. But also very important from that meeting and these conversations that probably wouldn't have happened without this project are the open line of communication and commitment from Lexington County regarding the stormwater infrastructure issues that have plagued that neighborhood for years on that half. And we appreciate them being there, and I appreciate them being there, and look forward to working with them on the maintenance and cleaning out those pipes and upgrades, like I said, that are unrelated to the hotel project, but that came up because of it, and the conversations happened, and I'm glad that we were able to engage them and keep them engaged. We've also started outreach with the DOT regarding a transportation plan for the commercial corner that they're looking to sell. I do believe they've also moved that NAI or NIA, whatever the acronym sign is, for the sign that that was sitting there for folks to be able to get in and out a little bit easier. But to find out any recommendations they're going to ask us or that they're going to implement for traffic mitigation and safety, and see what, if they can't be implemented until someone purchases that property, what can be done in the meantime, whether it's painting a big X in front of the entrance exit to Parliament Drive, or what they recommend us doing, and what the long-term plans likely will be with a commercial use on that corner. And then also talks about future safety upgrades to the area, including cameras at the entrance and exit, as we do at the other entrance and exit down the way, and in some of our other neighborhoods. And then, ultimately, I'd like to see a police substation out there. I've been talking about that for a little while, and I know that we've looked at some spots, but with the changing of our police chief a few times, it's definitely not been the most important thing for our department to focus on. But I'd love to see us have more eyes out there and possibly quicker response times, though they are really quick, I will say. Should our police chief see that that's an area that does need that. But outside of that, something I failed to mention, I'd love to see us try to get Dawn Staley out to the grand opening, if possible, given that was kind of her idea. And then one question I did want to ask Mike, that if you don't mind, that I don't know if it was clear. How many years is the maintenance that we're going to be having covered for that corridor?
We bidded out a 5-year maintenance plan to get the cost. We'll have discussions, and we're still putting together those plans to go back to the technical committee to see where that all bids out, and I'll bring that information back to you when we get it.
Okay, thank you.
Briefly, two things. I do regret that I did miss last meeting, but as Mayor Pro Tem pointed out, city moves on, meetings move on, and everything, we opened up the next day without me. But we'll,
We missed you.
yeah, I know you did. Briefly, I went on an interesting trip, and I'm telling this not to say I took a vacation during a meeting, but I went to England and France. And England, we went all to these cool castles, and you can't turn a corner over there without finding a castle. And then we ended up in France, and my friend had hosted me. He's a retired Paris policeman. His name is Pascal, and he married a friend of Deborah's, and they live in Evian. They met us in Paris, and we got a car, and we tooted around France. So we ended up, and why anybody want to dive in the Seine River is beyond me, but I guess somebody has to do it. We ended up in Normandy. That's somewhere I always wanted to go. And we visited the American Cemetery. And if you've ever been there, it's one of the most incredible experiences you'll ever have. So you got this cemetery with these white crosses. And at the end, there's this monument. And when we walked up there, they got this big thing of the battle plan, and then they had the invasion plan that the Marines went this way and the Army went that way. And there was a group of people laying a wreath. And the next thing you know, they're singing the Star Spangled Banner. So I whipped my hat off, and I mean, people, they just tears just going down their cheeks. Then they played taps. And my friend Pascal, he said, Phil, you guys sing the national anthem before a football game. Thank you for saving our country. I said, well, I didn't save your country. Them guys laying over there under them crosses saved your country, but on behalf of the Americans, you're welcome. And he says, you guys are such patriots. Y'all love your country. They got some challenges, over there in those parts of the world. But you learn to appreciate just what we have here. Federal government here, yeah, we argue and fight, and we have challenges all the way down. But everybody, just appreciate what we have here in this country, that we're allowed to do what we do with freedom, and appreciation from other people in the world is to our way of life and the way we do things. And I do recommend going to see that place in Normandy. And the terrain, those guys, I don't see how they did it. And these guys these 19-year-old guys are taking guns and storming a beach with being shot at, and all we do is gripe on Facebook around here now. It's just a different world. But again, that being said, I know everybody appreciates what we have, but it's reinforced when something like that happens to you. And the only other question, Michael, when I was going back over the video of the last meeting, I didn't see anything. Have you received everything you have asked for from the Chamber of Commerce regarding a tax?
I'll get with the grant administrator, but from my understanding, we received everything that we have asked for.
Okay, thank you. And that's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilman Carter. I would like to share with you guys that the Municipal Association of South Carolina chose God's country, the city of Cayce, to come to last night to be able to host a congressional district with our local congressman, Joe Wilson, and others. But the most beautiful thing about it is everybody from North Augusta, Aiken, Blackville, Forest Acres, Arcadia Lakes, Columbia, all came to the city of Cayce, and we hosted them here, all of those elected officials, and it was a proud moment to be able to have them here and be able to showcase the city of Cayce. So I appreciate them choosing us. And I guess as last, I get the opportunity to close out on a positive note. And I think my positive note tonight is it's delightful to be able to talk through something as important as the mitigation of storm water right here in front of you guys and virtually, and come to a great conclusion that doesn't spend $7 million and makes some great things happen. So, Council, I thank you for that. I thank our city manager for working with that as well. So at this time, we'll take a motion to move into executive session. Let me read the reasons for that. Is receipt of legal advice relating to claims and potential claims by and against the city and other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege. Number one, claims for improvements to Taylor Street and New State Road. Number two, zoning appeal litigation for 1028 Michaelmas Avenue. Number three, drainage easement acquisition. And number four, fire truck litigation. As well as B is discussion of Lexington County economic development projects relating to proposed location expansion and provision of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses within the city. Do I hear a motion for said reasons to move into executive session?
Move that we enter executive session for said reasons.
Second.
Any questions, comments? If not, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Socks?
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem James?
Yes.
No, I've heard
were no votes in executive session with the vote now to be able to come out of executive session, so.
Motion to come out of executive session?
Second.
Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Socks?
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem James?
Yes, and again, there were no votes in executive session with the exception of coming out of executive session. And as I understand, Will, there are no matters that come back before us at this time.
That's correct.
And with no matters coming back before us at this time, and City Manager, you have nothing else to report on?
No, sir.
I'll certainly take the motion to go home, which means adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Councilmember Socks?
Yes.
Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem James?
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
You see how quick that is? Like, you came in and I know Wesley and like, it was